Hello all, this is JC3 from Is This Real? Do you want to start your own podcast? Then look no further than Buzzsprout.com. We here at Green Hour Media use Buzzsprout, and we love the team at Buzzsprout. They are all about helping you succeed. Buzzsprout gets your show listed in every major podcast platform. Follow the link in our show notes to let Buzzsprout know that we sent you. It gets you a $20 paid Amazon gift card if you sign up with a paid plan and helps support our show. Join us and over 100,000 podcasters already using Buzzsprout.com to get your message out to the world. Welcome everybody to a fantastic, great episode of Is This Real podcast. As usual, I'm your host Joe. I'm with Dad Joe. I'm with the big bro block here, as you can see in the video. And then we got Eric with us today as our fourth official member of Is This Real. We are live on YouTube right now. And it is Thursday, October 29th? 29th, yeah.
29th. Yes, 29th.
Yes. Your mic sounds weird.
Am I on the right side? I don't even know. This
probably
like
not. But yes. So
hello.
Today we are finishing our part 2. Part 1 was last week. Part 2 is this week of the Conjuring Universe.
The Conjuring.
Yes, the Conjuring. So
the hell was that?
Shut the fuck up. So this week we are finishing off the Conjuring Universe with the Conjuring 2, and Annabelle Comes Home. Well, and the Curse of Ya Llorona. And did I say that right?
Llorona.
Ya Llorona. Whatever.
Say the word Corona.
The two L's is a Y.
Not cool.
Say the word Corona.
Corona.
Now replace C with a Y.
Llorona.
There you go.
There you go, buddy.
Spanish speaker already.
Fuck y'all. So we watched The Curse of that movie today.
The Curse of that movie,
one, huh?
Really?
The Curse of that one, huh?
Yeah, we watched that movie today. And I don't know. It didn't give me... The only thing I liked about the movie was Linda Cardellini.
Honestly, when I saw it the first time, I had no idea it was part of the Conjuring Universe. I had no idea. I just saw
only connection in The Curse of that movie...
La Llorona.
Yes, that. I'm not going to say that correctly, so I'm just not going to attempt.
He's going to say that movie the entire podcast.
So... The only thing that connects that movie to the rest of the Conjuring universe is the priest, the one with the goatee.
Father Gordon?
I guess that's his name, but
I was going to say that. Was he
not Raphael?
Was he not like in almost every single movie?
No, he was.
How old is he?
The only one he was in was the first Annabelle movie.
No, I'm pretty sure the same.
I couldn't find a good link for any of the Annabelle movies, so all I saw was the first two Conjurings.
Well, I mean,
this podcast.
At least you're up to date with what we're talking about on this podcast. Yeah. We talked about the other Annabelle movies last week. Yeah. But no, he was just... The other priest you saw was the ones in The Conjuring, and that one...
That was Father Gordon.
It wasn't Father... Yeah, maybe. I don't know the priest's name, so it was Father Gordon.
Father Gordon.
But yeah, so that one was the one in The Conjuring. Not so much...
Well, was it the same priest in all the Annabelles then? Because I feel like one of those priests were the same guy for like a lot.
No, there was only one priest in the Annabelle, and that was the one in the Annabelle movie itself.
Yes.
The Annabelle creation didn't have a priest. It had the nun, and it had the doll maker.
No, it had the nun. Annabelle creation, it had the nun and the one priest that dropped them off, and to me he looked similar to the same priest in Annabelle the movie.
No, it wasn't the same priest as that.
They look the same. I'm just saying.
Huh?
I said they look the same. I'm just saying.
Well, that doesn't mean they are the same.
All right. Anyway.
Anyway.
Can we do like a quick recap? Because I got a little bit of notes. notes.
Oh, he has notes this week, Dad.
Let him go with it. Come on.
I did homework. I wanted to be prepared for you, Joe, because I know you have high expectations for me.
I do have high, but you know what? Hey, look. Tonight, I'm going to be totally honest with you. I am just going to sit here and I'm going to interject. You guys can run with it tonight. I'm going to enjoy this and everything else that's circling around my head.
I think, yeah,
Cloud 9, Cloud 10, Cloud 12.
He's over the moon.
Wait, hold on. Before you go around thinking I'm a fucking junkie.
No, I'm not a junkie.
I got back pain. I took my pill. It's making me lethargic. Let's calm down here. Super lethargic.
It's all prescribed by a real doctor, guys.
Yes. What's her name?
Let's not go there. Anyway, so the reason why I said I wanted to do a quick timeline is because when I went to watch the movies to catch up for this podcast, I tried to do it in order, and I knew that The Nun was first. So I watched The Nun first. That was supposed to take place in 1952. So when I watched the special features, because you know me, I'm a film nerd. It actually had a legit timeline of the movies, and the ones I saw was for The Nun, Annabelle Creation, Annabelle. They didn't include Annabelle Comes Home at that point, I guess because it wasn't made or whatever, but they skipped over the Conjuring 1 and 2. So their timeline went as in those special features for The Nun was 1952 is the events of The Nun, 1958 is Annabelle Creation, 1970 is the events of Annabelle, and then Conjuring is 71 and Conjuring 2 is 77. So that's the way they did it. I know me and you.
78.
No, that's what I'm saying. That's what I was about to say.
There's a lot of
leeway with.
Yeah, there's a lot of back and forth between what the actual timeline is, because I was looking at the timeline the other day also, and actually, if you guys want later when you're done, if you want to go at home, they just released like a week ago. It's a legit behind the scenes featurette of the movies coming up, like the movies and the 7th movie coming up, which is The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
And they're also making another Nun movie and The Crooked Man.
Yeah. So
I look forward to those.
But that's what I'm saying. They're making a behind the scenes for those movies, and they did like a half an hour featurette for the coming up movie. Yeah. Now they had the timeline in there. Now basically what it is with the timeline was what it said was 1954 was The Nun.
This is like real time.
Yeah,
the real timeline.
Yeah, so 1958 was Annabelle Creation. 67 or 68 was Annabelle the movie.
Yeah.
70 was The Conjuring. 73 was
Annabelle Comes Home.
No, that movie.
The Crooked Man.
No, La Llorona.
Oh,
yeah,
La Llorona.
Yes.
And 78 I think is Annabelle. 74, 75 is Annabelle
78,
Comes Home.
78 is like the
Conjuring 2.
The Conjuring 2, because that takes place during the Amityville thing.
Yeah, and then
that time.
And then 81 is going to be The Conjuring. The Devil Made Me Do It.
Yeah.
See that from what I thought and the way we were talking, it was that the actual events still, those are probably the years, but I guess the way they made it in the movie sense, just to have a concrete timeline, those are the ones that they put onto it. So, like I said, it was The Nun, Annabelle, and it's like I put a whole timeline. I'm not going to go into too much depth because we want to talk about Conjuring 1 and 2. Yeah. But I did have one or two notes that I wanted to just speak on really quickly because I wanted to get Joe's opinion if he knows about it. So there was one fact I saw when I was watching The Nun. There's deleted scenes, and I think they should have put them in. I believe it was she wasn't the nun at the time. What was she? She was like a training nun or something like that.
Yeah, she was.
It was her and the guy who they sent over there. They were having a conversation and they were looking into the books about Valak. And one thing that caught my eye immediately, and I'm really mad they didn't put it in the movies because this is a big thing. There's something called Ouroboros, and it's a symbol, and it's basically the snake eating itself. Okay. It's another standard. I thought that was the George Washington monument. No. Not that I know of.
Because I've heard that name before.
Yeah, Ouroboros. It's actually, that's what I'm saying. If you're a gamer like me, you've heard Ouroboros from a couple of games. They depict it differently. It's a whole bunch of different things, but in the deleted scene, they were talking about Ouroboros, which is the snake eating itself. It's a seal. There's a seals in the books also talking about Valak as well, and that it also stems from the whole cycle of death and rebirth, of which is why the snake is eating itself. And it's the story of the Duke in the Last Great War, which, if you follow the timelines, that should be World War II, I believe. That was a fun fact for me because, like I said, if you play video games, there are some video games out there, like, I don't really want to name drop, but I think I've tried, well, it's not, I can't help it. Resident Evil 5, there's something in it where they're calling the virus in that game Ouroboros. And what it does is it legit looks like snakes or worms, like consuming the people's body and then transforming them.
Wow.
And that's actually something that I found interesting because I'm like, that's something that I don't think anyone's really touched on at all.
No, I've never heard of it, I'll be honest with you.
Yeah, because and honestly, it's only in that one.
In the Nun, right?
Yeah, only in the Nun, because creation comes, there's nothing with that.
You know what I think they're doing? Because in this little featurette that I was watching the other day, James Wan did say it himself. He turned around and he was like, he wants to keep the Conjuring movies as close to real as he can for like the
events that happened.
Yeah, the real life events that happened in the that they're making the Conjuring films on.
Yeah,
he wants to keep them close to like real life as he can.
Well, he's not getting any better than what he's doing. I'll tell you that. Oh, that is phenomenal.
But then he turned around and he was like, but for the offshoot movies like The Nun, The Crooked Man, and the Annabelle movies, like I was talking about last week, Yeah. He said we can expand, like we can sit there and grasp at something that may not be true.
Yeah, he wants to do with the horror universe, with this Conjuring universe, like they've done with Marvel's Avengers.
Yeah.
Where it was stemming from, Iron Man first, and then Spider-Man, then Hulk, then Thor, and then connected it all together. That's what he said. I saw one of those interviews too. Like, he wants to do that with the horror universe. And it blew my mind. I'm like, this guy is a fucking genius.
Yeah,
I never would have thought of that.
I like what he does. I like the fact that you got one guy that's actually, when he's not directing it, he's producing it. So he's keeping everything. And again, if he's going to keep everything as real life to real reality as possible, and he's going to do it for The Conjuring, he's really, because these events that have happened, these are real events. Yeah. It's not like The Nun. The Nun is just a story.
Yeah.
Okay, to bring that in.
Well, the same thing with Annabelle, to a point.
Right, but Annabelle is just a doll. There's not that much behind that Annabelle doll. I mean,
that's what I'm saying. That's why the Annabelle movies themselves, like Creation and the first Annabelle. Well, I mean, the first Annabelle, I guess, was fact to a point. Annabelle Creation, I don't know how much that was actually true. Like, I don't know if she was created by a doll maker who lost his daughter or anything like that.
What I like about that movie and how they tied it in with The Nun was basically with that photograph.
Oh, yeah.
I was going to mention that. That's another one of my notes.
I mean, absolutely brilliant because,
it was weird because he had to tilt the picture.
Yeah.
If he didn't tilt the picture, you didn't see it.
Yeah,
and I don't think when it was on the wall in the Abbey, I don't think we saw her in that.
No,
because they weren't flipping it or they weren't moving. So it's really genius and it's subtle how he did that. Yeah. And at that point, it piqued my interest. All right, I'm going to watch the rest of this movie now because something's connecting me with the nun, and
it was weird because the nun that was there with the girls said that she got to meet those nuns that were at that chapel, and she knew 3 of them, and that's when he asked about the one on the right, and she's like, I don't know, I've never met her, and I'm sitting there like, did you even see her?
Yeah.
But what threw me in a loophole with that is that it depends on what year that picture was taken, because if you watch The Nun, which is supposed to be the first movie, the franchise, like in a sense, timeline wise, The Nun happened in 54, I think we said.
Hold on.
52.
52.
It took place in 52.
51, 52.
Yeah,
Yes.
so if you the timeline, The Nun is 51, 52. Annabelle creation was 58.
Yeah.
So that picture had to be taken somewhere before that, because in The Nun, obviously, we find out all the nuns that are in that monastery
are dead.
Yeah.
That's what threw me off too. I even put that as a note.
So when did she meet?
Because it's like, when did she meet him? Because if you follow the movie in The Nun, I believe in one of the scenes, actually I think it was a deleted scene too, and I don't know why they didn't put it, or maybe it was in there. I might be confused. But the one nun was describing it to the younger girl and said, like, 30 years prior, this is what happened, and then the Great War broke the seal. I'm like, okay, so then how can that picture have been taken if technically I think those nuns have been dead since World War II? If that is the case.
That was my problem.
But again, he's making you think. He's making you actually think about, like, when was this picture taken? Yeah. And he connects it with creation in a just an absolute brilliant way, in my opinion.
Well, let's jump off to the movie that started everything with The Conjuring. The Conjuring itself, I think, when it first came out, was probably it still is probably my favorite movie.
That and for the time, because like we were still around in high school at that time, so like Insidious and The Conjuring were like the big, like, I guess, biggest horror movies
at that time.
Game-changing horror movies, because like, I don't know, like, those were like for the horror genre, and like what I've seen of horror, those two movies did something that.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hey, Ryan. Hi, this is Sarah Palin.
Ryan, Donald Trump Jr.
Hogs to win seal. Hey, everybody, I want y'all to check out a fellow Marines podcast.
My name is Ted Nugent, and I got a call from my buddy Ryan F. Samuels, and he wants me to tell you that he's a working hard, playing all-American son of a who is celebrating God, family, country.
Welcome to the Ryan Samuels Show, one of the top political podcasts in the United States, where we have a healthy distrust for government and mainstream media. The Ryan Samuels Show is a raw, unfiltered look at American politics.
I never saw before.
Well, the thing is, there were done before, and it weren't done in our time though. Like, they were done in Dad's time. They're done because we were going to, in movie universe itself, we were going through a time before The Conjuring came out that you wouldn't get your typical haunted house movie anymore. It was more
because it was played out by like 90s, early 2000s.
So you would get your typical like Saw gore movie or anything like that.
And James Wan was also part of Saw. I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was a producer or director for Saw.
The co-creator of the first one.
Yeah, so that's the thing. Like James Wan is brilliant in the horror industry, and I like what he's doing with the Conjuring Universe, because even he said he wants to bring back the old style horror movies. Like, if you look at The Nun, he said
he absolutely does.
The Nun is a beautiful throwback to the Dracula Castle Romania type movies. Yeah. And I think that's brilliant, because nobody does those anymore. And that was the thing with The Conjuring. When you look at The Conjuring when it first came out, you didn't have a classic horror, classic ghost story anymore. It was these big, like, thriller type things, like
giant monsters,
like giant monsters,
jump scares at every single opportunity,
gory movies,
extreme gore and blood.
You didn't get just it's a horror movie. Yeah. Now, I think Dad and I both knew about. I know he did. I know I did also. I don't know about you guys. We both knew about the Warrens and their cases before this.
Yeah, because you guys are freaking paranormal.
I didn't have an effing clue. Let's just put it that way. I didn't have an effing clue.
Yeah, I remember I picked up a book one time.
Yeah, you look at the bookshelf over there. Yeah. Dad has all the books of the Warren cases.
I picked up a book one time, and it was called The Demonologist by Gerard Brittle. And it actually, I read the first 2 pages about Ed Warren being a demonologist and one of the only lay people that the Catholic Church actually goes to help them. That's show you how much they got in their tank, when they get a guy that's just a lay guy. But I remember reading it, and it had...
That means that he has, nothing to do, officially with the church,
no,
right?
Yeah, he's like you and I.
And his wife...
Like a subcontractor or something?
You mean me?
Well, no. Yeah. I mean, you could actually say that probably what he would be. And his wife, Lorraine, was a clairvoyant. She could walk into a house and tell you immediately there's something there.
She's probably one of the most one of the most well-respected clairvoyants in the world.
They never seeked fame, but when they got involved with the Amityville horror, it was almost like, people were trying to cut them off. People were trying to tell them they were fakes, they were frauds, they were kooks, they were idiots, they were, and Ed Warren would shut them down at every chance he get. He would shut them down. And there was, I believe is it Annabelle? One of the movies had them in sitting there. It might have been it was Conjuring 2.
Yes,
when they were actually in a studio, that really happened. When they were in the studio, and the guy, he was
the doctor was trying to he's like, "What are you a doctor of?" And he was just dismissing all that.
Further on that comment, you ever get that online? You can see the guy goes. He says, "I'm a doctor, and I use all my instrumentations to go into these houses." So Ed goes, "Well, what do you use?" "Well, you know what I use. I don't have to tell you." And it shows you right there, the guy was a fraud. But he tried his best to, label that whole scenario from, Ed Warren, Lorraine Warren, the Lutz family, and everything else. And I know this is off topic, but that's where they were thrust into the public limelight. That's where everybody knew then where they were. I knew about them before that because, like I said, I read this book, and I read it a couple times. I read it so much, I wanted to be Ed Warren. I really did. I remember when I was a teenager, I went up to Father, I can't think of his name now, Father, he was at St. Gerard's, and it was during one of the... No, Father, who was the guy? Father, not Father Mark, but the guy was with Father Carroll. I'm going to say Father Carroll. And I said to him, Father, how do you become a demonologist for the church? And he looked at me deadpan, he goes, "You don't." And I'm like, "Well, why?" He says, "Because..." and he said to me, "I'm not going to say this in a bad way." He says, "But you have to be the most pious person on the planet. Okay, pious? You have to be attending church every week. You have to be. You have to all your sacraments. Catholic, yeah. You have to be a super Catholic to do this, because this is not a game. This is not funny. This is not. Well, I got nothing to do, so I'm going to go fight a demon. This is insidious. It can be dangerous. It is very dangerous, and it can be deadly." And what people don't get and they don't understand, and that's why this movie, The Conjuring, what it did was it took all of that and it basically explained that we're dealing with something here that's not good. And we need to take our time. And that's why you saw them fighting in the movie, Ed and Lorraine. Yeah. He wanted her out. He didn't want nothing to do with her because he was afraid for her. Yeah. No. And she was like, "Absolutely not. We started this together. We're going to finish this." Well, because she knew that Ed couldn't. They even said, "Ed, you can't." He said, "You can't do the exorcism," because they couldn't get the priest there in time.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, she had to stay there to help her husband, because that's how insidious this got and could be. Now, the real story behind The Conjuring, according to Ed and according to Lorraine, they weren't there as much as they were portrayed to be.
Like in the movie, right?
Right. Yeah. They weren't there.
Like staying the night and stuff like that.
If they were there 2 days... the movie's got to be 2 hours long. You're going to get this, but that stuff that happened over 10 years.
Well, the funniest part, the opposite happened with The Conjuring too. She said they were there longer than what the movie portrayed.
Right, because they had to be. They were actually living in that house. Now, I don't want to skip to that one, but I got a few things about that I want to talk about too. But that's my take on The Conjuring, and I think it's a brilliant movie. I think it's brilliantly done.
Well, with The Conjuring, I'll just give a brief synopsis to the people listening. But The Conjuring, Ed and Lorraine Warren get called to a house. I forgot the name of the house. What are the people?
Perrins.
Yeah, the Perrins.
Yeah.
Their house is being haunted, a house that they bought
at auction from a bank.
Yeah, at auction from a bank. think, and they have five girls. Yeah, that's a lot of girls. But they have 5 girls, and then of course the house is haunted by a demon.
It's a witch.
It's not really. Yeah, it's a witch. It's not really a demon.
Well, they didn't know it was a demon at the time.
Yeah,
and they didn't know. If you notice, when they first got there, Ed didn't want to come in there. Ed was on. I want to go home. I don't want to do this. I'm a different.
But Lorraine knew.
Lorraine, when she walked in, you can see, and she even said that when she walked through that door the first time, she knew. She saw the shadow.
That's one thing I love about the movies is that you can tell when Lorraine knows.
Right, and I think
it's like the first time she walked into the parent house, you saw it in her face.
Right, she knew immediately.
The in the Conjuring 2, when she got out, the scene that she got out of the cab, you saw it in her face.
Yes, she did.
I think one of my favorite parts in the Conjuring 2 was when Lorraine and her daughter were both having like that astral projection dream state thing, and she told her daughter to go back, and then when they showed her back on the chair just writing down the demon's name, I thought that was like really brilliant.
Well, if it again, not to cut to the Conjuring 2, but if you take a look at that scene, Valak is portrayed throughout the entire scene. Mm-hmm. That name is everywhere. There's little bookmarks on the thing that say Valak. She's writing Valak. Like if you look at the books itself, it spells Valak out. It's actually crazy little details that they put in that scene. But with the Conjuring 1, what I like. Getting back to what happened in that time. I thought,
but not to cut you off as well, I thought that some of those single takes that they did were so beautiful, and the way that they faded out, and it just made it seem like it's all just one continuous shot was just was amazing.
Yeah, with the Conjuring, what the funny part about the Conjuring at the time it came out is nobody thought this movie would get as much traction as it has. I remember those people and when we were in school, they're like, "Oh, it's a ghost story. Who cares?"
Yeah, based on a true story. Heard that before.
Yeah, nobody likes true ghost stories anymore. I was sitting there but it was just, I got excited and I was Ed and Lorraine Warren. I
think it was the suspense factor in those movies as well too, because it's just it was how Joe said it kept it very real. It didn't do all a lot of fictitious horror.
Well, I think the 3 that pop out to me the most, the 3 I guess you call them jump scares, would be the one with the clap.
We'll be back after a quick break.
Hello, nerds. Come listen to the History Nerds United podcast, and let's make history fun again. We interview today's best authors, whether they are established Pulitzer Prize winners or someone debuting their first book. Let us show you that history is not a boring class you took in high school, but a place where the best stories come from. And we don't just cover history. We also love to chat about true crime, biographies, memoirs, and so much more. So head on over to History Nerds United and let us introduce you to your new favorite book and learn the story behind the story.
History Nerds United.
The one where she was in the cellar with the matches.
Yeah.
Well, there was 2 claps. Remember when they were playing, when the mother was playing with the daughter, and she says, "I know where you are," and the doors for the thing came open?
Well, yeah, I'm talking, but then that's part of the next scene, because that happened with the clap, the closet door open, and then the little girl...
You heard the breathing in the background, too, if you, paid attention to it.
Yeah, and then the little girl was look up, and then you saw the demon jump onto the little girl.
I don't think that was in the same scene.
No, that was when what was it? I think Sydney. I think one of the youngest ones that was sleepwalking. She was crashing.
Yeah, she was banging her head.
She was banging her head into that.
Okay.
And then I think the oldest let her stay in the room with her, and then that's when she heard the banging again, but she was not sleepwalking, so that's when that jump scare happened. That one kind of got me.
The girl was actually standing there, and the one girl had her back to the armoire, whatever the hell you call those things, and the little girl looked like she was in a trance, and she just pointed up like this, and then
when the second she got out the bed and she just stood up and her eyes were open, that was
Really?
Sorry, I'm trying to share here.
Okay, that's fine.
Why are we having feedback?
No, that was me.
It's on his phone.
I'm trying to share.
He's sharing it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, but to me, the first clap, I think, like, okay, the second one, creepy with the closet and all, because you have an armoire, and that's all I thought about when I was home alone, is that just hearing a clap and that armoire opening. Mm-hmm. But the first clap for me, because you didn't expect just the hands to pop out.
Yeah.
In the darkness.
In the darkness.
I mean, honestly, like, in the trailers of that movie, it kind of, like, gave that away, but still, just, like, when you watch the sequence of how all that happened, it still got you.
And then I think the second one was the jumping off the armoire for me.
Yeah.
Because you didn't like, literally, you don't expect just the and then the jump. That scared the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
And then the third one for me, it's very subtle, but I think it's creepy enough, was when she was doing the clothes outside, and I still want to know how the fuck they did this. She was doing the clothes outside.
And the body outline?
And the body outline. That one scared the fuck out of me.
That was Lorraine that happened.
Yeah. She was doing the laundry. It got windy, and it fell off, and it was just a body form.
I'd love to know. That had to be like maybe CGI or something.
Oh, yeah, of course.
Oh, that was heavy CGI, because that was amazing.
And then, the sheet flew to the window, and you didn't see anybody in the window at first, and when the sheet moved, you saw
the witch.
The witch in the window. And I'm like, that was a brilliant fucking sequence.
Yeah.
Like, and
I gotta say, that's why I'm like, was telling Eric earlier on the drive, I'm really gonna sit here and praise James Wan, because everything he did right. And when I was watching some of the special features, it's like he told some of the people, I believe it was the script writers, he likes this movie. It's a good haunted movie, but there's too much
fiction.
Take some. No, he just said that. That's the way he. He says there's too much. I guess they were trying to make it too scary and too many jump scares and stuff like that. So he told them legitimately, like, two guys said it. They were like, he said he told us to take it out, and they're like, they didn't know what to do, so they did it. And then it's like watching the movie. He leads you up to every single one.
Right.
And there was several instances, I don't know if you guys remember, where you thought something was going to happen. Just straight up tricked the shit out of you. Thought something was going to happen, and then it's like, no, it's nothing. And then like 2 seconds later, something happens, and it actually catches you off guard. Because I got to say, trying to catch up with these movies this past week, I got to say, The Nun was good and entertaining. The Annabelles weren't really scary, but actually sitting down and rewatching The Conjuring 1 and 2, I was scared for a little bit.
I was going to ask you now, you live alone, right?
Yeah.
Okay. How do you do it? I want to know.
Oh, I had my living room light on, my kitchen light on, my bathroom light on, my bedroom light on.
Rosary in his hand, rubbing the Jesus,
Because I'm telling you, legit, I could never.
I was upstairs, and honestly, like, I was watching the Conjuring 2 had more, like, it made me like,
when we get into that, because there's a couple scenes in there that freaked me the fuck out too.
The one that really got me, that like I really forgot about, was when the spirit of what is it, Bill or whatever?
Yeah, Bill Wilkins.
And he was just like, my house, right behind her. That part got me. I was like, oh shit.
But that's like.
Oh, can I just wanted to say something really quick before we either go on or switch to The Conjuring 2. A little thing I wanted to point out. And I don't know why I'm gonna say this, but I'm disappointed in the family that moved into that house. And I'm going to tell you why right now. They made it clear that they're a family from New Jersey. Because when they were walking in, the daughter said something about, can I choose my room or do I not have a choice in that? And then the mother said something about...
she'll meet once she sees a cute boy, she'll forget about Jersey.
Yeah, exactly. That's what she said. And I sat there and I thought to myself, I'm like, wait, what? They're from Jersey? I'm like legit disappointed, because then the father tried to get the dog into the house and the dog was crying and didn't want to go in the house. I'm like, that's your first sign and you ignored it? What the hell?
But then again, like, look at it from like that supernatural aspect. Like, of course, like how they were targeted, because like they're moving in onto cursed land, and none of them were like church going.
Well, yeah, that's
what made it easier.
That's what made it a lot easier for that vulnerability.
I've realized with a lot of these movies,
with the big move on top of that, it's a lot of stress.
Yeah,
repairs on the house, so I can see how
what pisses me off is how
easy for them to like that. Like,
you turn around and like there's no distinction And I get, because I guess as normal, because I wouldn't know either. But how do you know if it's a witch, or how do you know if it's a demon? You know what I mean? Like,
and that's when I think we were talking about this a few episodes. I think for the Exorcist one, where how you have to be open enough to like to have this sort of information, so that if you were to unfortunately go through something like this, you would have at least some type of knowledge.
The husband wasn't open to it, right? I believe he didn't believe that there was ghosts or anything like that.
At first, I believe so.
That's why.
Conjuring?
Yeah.
I don't think
I think he was just as confused. I think he was just as confused.
This no good?
No.
This mic sucks.
Yes.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think he was actually a God person, a churchgoer.
No, he said in the movie that none of his family, they weren't church going people.
Yeah, and that's why,
and they weren't baptized.
Father Gordon said that it's complicated because none of the children were baptized.
Yeah, that's why I think the mother went to, I forgot her name, but she went to Carolyn, yeah.
Carolyn?
Oh, you mean her name in the movie?
Yeah,
sorry.
Yeah.
I remembered the actor name, Lily
that's why,
Taylor?
Yeah.
Lily Taylor. Woohoo, I like that one.
Oh my gosh. Can I just say really quick, she did a phenomenal fucking job in that movie. Like, I've seen her in a couple other things, but I feel like for some reason
the one biggest one she was on too
was phenomenal. I think she did this perfectly.
Yeah, she gave me very believable mom vibes.
Exactly.
Where is it?
Like, she's a very concerned mother for her children. She's trying to believe them, but it's just like she's also stressed and being an adult. Excuse me about it.
Yeah.
Where is it?
Oh, then can we talk about the use of shadows in this damn movie?
Oh yeah,
Conjuring, the first one.
But it's the entire series in general. We were watching, like I said, the Curse of La
Llorona.
Whatever.
Llorona.
That movie.
Llorona.
We were watching that movie earlier, and you could even tell in that movie that the one scene alone where she was walking down, like towards the end, and they were all around the candles, and the witch or whatever the fuck this bitch is turned around and was coming down the stairs, and you just saw blackness, and then you saw light just fade up and then fade down, which I'm like, I looked at him, I was like, fuck that.
Yeah, fuck that. Like James Wan is amazing with that.
But Lily Taylor, one of her bigger movies also was The Haunting.
That's what it was. That's
Haunting?
where I remember.
Just a regular Haunting?
Yeah, it's called The Haunting. Remember, it was a movie with Liam Neeson.
Neeson. Is that the one where they go and they got this big time machine?
No. It's basically a retelling of Hill House.
Okay.
Or The House on Haunted Hill. Whichever. It's basically
that new Netflix thing?
No, not that one. That one's a retelling of basically this movie.
Okay.
So, yeah, that I believe it's the Hill House. I believe it's the same movie as, or because there's three. Like me and Anthony were talking about this the other day. There's on the other podcast on Green Arrow. There's like three different types of movies that you have. You have House on Haunted Hill, Hill House, and The Haunting. I believe all done in the '60s, all done at the same time. Well, I'll tell you one thing:
The House on Haunted Hill. That was a great movie.
Oh yeah,
and that was redone a bunch of times. But that had
Vincent Price.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Vincent Price in a horror movie. Now I think it's The Legend of Hell House. That had my absolute favorite actor of all time in it, Roddy McDowall, and he was brilliant. Roddy's brilliant in everything.
Well,
I mean, Well,
getting to brilliant actors, can we talk about how Patrick Wilson and Vera Farmiga blew these roles out of the water?
Yeah, I agree. I think
they literally made me feel like they were
the Lorraines, right?
The Warrens.
Yeah, the Warrens.
What people don't understand is that going away from all the horror aspect of it, when you get to the point where you see them actually hugging and being romantic, that was Ed and Lorraine Warren.
Yeah.
That was them. They were very much in love. I mean, Lorraine in the book says, at a very young age, she looked at Ed and propelled him 60 years and knew that this was the guy she was going to marry. So that's how interconnected they were. And they do that brilliantly in the movie as far as portraying them being in love and they're doing this together.
Yeah.
And it's one front that's out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of my favorite moments was when he was playing the guitar in the Conjuring 2 for the children with the Elvis song, and he was just like kind of just looking at Lorraine the entire time.
They show these beautiful loving moments between
I was like, Oh my god!
All right, so we'll jump to the Well, no, we have to jump to Annabelle Comes Home because Annabelle Comes Home comes before The Conjuring 2.
The Conjuring 2 or the first one?
Real quick though, because I want to ask Joe this: the thing where the clocks all stopped at like 3 in the morning. What did you think about that? Yeah, it was like 3:07.
That's true.
Yeah, I don't know. Did they explain that in the movie?
They did. They said that the witch she proclaimed her love for Satan.
Yeah,
and the time of death officially was at 3:07.
Okay,
yeah, that's when she hung herself.
Yeah. Well, that's also, but in accordance to
the movie,
but to demons also.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask because I know Joe, you're into that.
The demons mock the Holy Trinity.
Yeah.
So everything comes in threes. If you hear 3 knocks, you know you have a problem.
Can we just mention that was actually
is that like
what do you call it? Consistent through all the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Did you notice that?
What's funny is that like in the first Conjuring, I did notice that like at first when they were showing the knocks, I counted 4 knocks at one point.
Yeah,
and then they corrected it to the 3.
Yeah, they tried to trick you. That's the thing. That's what I love about James Wan too. He'll try to trick you, be like, "Oh, see, that was 4 knocks, so it's not a demon." But then you'll hear 3.
Well, what he did was, that was the first scene, basically, when Ed came in, Ed and Lorraine, they came into, and they were explaining, what happens? Well, do you hear 3 knocks? And the father said, yeah, and he, went like that. And
I think he was describing it as they locked the doors because they kept hearing.
Right, and
he asked him, "Does it happen usually like that in 3s?"
Yeah,
and
that was James Wan's way of bringing out Ed Warren's
demon expertise.
It does everything happens between 3 and then ends at sunrise because that's when the witching hour is 3. To a demon, 3 that's their high holy. They're mocking the Trinity. That's just what they're doing. And again, he brought that out right in the beginning. You knew what you were up against, and he paints Ed as that expert that he was.
See, what I love about these movies also, though, is that if you look at most of them, besides, because you have the Conjuring Universe has the 2 big ones. The 2 big ones is the demon that haunts Annabelle and Valak, the nun.
Yeah.
Right. Those are the 2 big main antagonists. Yeah, antagonists in this series.
No, you were right the first time. Protagonist.
No.
Protagonist is the main character.
Yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying.
He's a dick.
A dick-tagonist?
Yes, I'm that too.
Dick-nanigans.
But those are the 2 antagonists of the main universe. But if you look at all the haunted house movies, like if you look at The Conjuring 2, and Llorona, whatever, they're not demons. They're just evil spirits who did walk the earth.
Yeah, because
that's what I love. We know we have the 2 main bad guys, which are the 2 big demons. I don't even know what the name of the demon that haunts Annabelle is.
I don't think you find it out.
No, I don't think we ever.
I think they just show it. That's why when I told you I made the comment, I thought Valak was the same one that was latching on to Annabelle. Because if you look at the way they drew the demons or created the demons, the one in Annabelle, both of them actually, you saw it, and then if you compared it to the quick snippet you saw in the Nun, they look almost exactly alike.
Well, the quick side fact. The person that plays those demons in Annabelle, the actual actor who portrays those demons, and is the same person, because it's a guy, believe it or not, is the same person that portrays...
In the nun suit?
No. Well, no.
The demon.
The demon in Annabelle. You didn't watch the Annabelle movies?
Yeah, I haven't seen that.
There's an actual... You see a demon with horns, all black, red eyes, stuff like that.
Gotcha.
No, it wasn't red eyes. It was white.
It was white eyes?
Yeah, because that was another one of the notes I took because I went back and saw it. The several scenes in Annabelle creation, every time they subtly showed the demon, but the problem is they focused more on Annabelle, and they did a good job with that because they made you focus on Annabelle.
Yeah, right.
But if you actually sat there and tried not to look at her, I think there was 2 scenes. One, the one that was predominant was the one when the little girl found the doll in the chair under the stairs.
Yeah.
Right.
She sat there, she looked at it, and like at first it did catch my attention. I'm like, what the fuck is that doll doing, man? It's just sitting there. But then I stopped for a second and I like rewound it. I'm like, something caught my attention. In the kind of top left corner, you see 2 little white dots.
Cool.
They're not that bright. It's very subtle. You may think it's probably a reflection or something, but it looks like two little white dots, and those were his eyes, because that's how you can tell with the shadow that he pulled the chair back.
Well,
holy shit!
The actor that portrays that
Good
demon,
analysis, man.
I know he is in depth with this shit. The actor that portrays that demon is the same actor that portrays the demon in the first Conjuring. The same person. You saw that the thing on top of the cabinet, Bathsheba, I think the name was. Same actor. Which I'm like, wow, that's fucking creepy. They're
That's
like,
some
you know
really
what?
good makeup they did.
Yeah, they turn around and like, yeah, you were good in the first one. Let's use you as a demon. Come on. But yeah,
You're all right there, guy.
So Annabelle Comes Home was besides this movie coming up, is the last movie that they filmed. Well, no, I think it was the Curse of the Llorona, whatever. Llorona.
No, I thought this one was, because it says it right there, 2019.
Na. Llorona.
Llorona.
There you go. That's
okay. Cool. Llorona.
Spanish 101, people.
There you go. Just say it as Caucasian as possible. Llorona.
Llorona.
Exactly. There you
Your
go.
Rona, my Rona, all of our Ronas.
Remember,
how about not 2019? Annabelle
The big
Comes
Rona.
Home.
the big Rona.
Oh my god, I knew he was going there. Annabelle,
the baby boomer,
was made 2019. I believe that was
2019. Yeah. So Annabelle Comes Home is basically when you see the beginning of The Conjuring. Like the first movie.
They played the same scene for that
They
one.
played the same scene over, and then this movie starts off with them returning.
The two women that were like being interviewed by
the nurses.
Yeah.
Those 2 women, basically it's the same scene at the beginning of Annabelle Comes Home, because you didn't see Annabelle Comes Home, right?
I haven't seen any of those movies.
Yeah. So it's the same scene, of course, updated, because, it's 6-7 years apart.
Yeah.
They updated the scene, and basically they take the doll because they're like, okay, this doll is haunted by a demon, so we're going to take it home with us. So the Warrens take it home, and then they put it in the case. Basically what happens is Ed and Lorraine get called off to a case, and this is like 2 years after they bring it home. So it's been in the case, blah, blah, blah. Their daughter Judy is like 9, 10.
Something like that.
Yeah, I was kind of confused with the timeline. That's why I was trying to ask you, was it before one or after one, in between 2?
It's...
Okay, so basically... The way they may say it, the girl did seem older in Annabelle Comes Home. And the way...
No, in The Conjuring 2, she's older.
Yes.
Yeah, no, I know that.
Yeah.
But in Annabelle Comes Home, they made the daughter seem a little bit older. That's why I was confused.
Because it's about 2 years after the Conjuring. Oh, he's high as fuck.
I'm not high at all.
He's relaxed. He's pain-free. Leave him alone.
Leave me. Finally, I can sit here. My back isn't driving me crazy.
Okay.
And I'm literally enjoying you. I really am tonight, because
Damn it, the third.
I mean,
come on.
You are amazing.
I'm chilling.
So we hit the jackpot with this guy.
So basically, with Annabelle Comes Home, they start off. They bring the doll home, and about 2 years later, after The Conjuring, this is a 73, I think it is, right?
Yeah, around that time. Yeah.
So the Warrens get called off to a case, and Judy is being babysat by this really cute blonde girl.
Nice.
And she has a best friend who is one of those 70s rebel chicks.
Snarky bitch.
Yeah.
I'm gonna smoke a
Honestly,
Oh wait, no, that was in Conjuring 2.
Yeah.
My bad.
Honestly, I thought the same thing up until the fact that she said
that her dad died, right?
That her dad died, yeah. Then I understood why they did what they did.
Basically, during the whole first part of the movie, the snarky bitch best friend is like your parents
is like mourning her father's death.
No, basically, but you don't find out till like later in the movie. But what it is basically is you turn around and she's like to Judy, who's the daughter, do your parents keep any haunted things here? Because everybody knows who the Warrens are at this point.
Yeah, they're basically famous.
Yeah, so they're like, does your parents keep anything like haunted here? And Judy's like, yeah, there's a whole room for the haunted shit. Stay the fuck away.
Which was too late at that point, I think, actually. Wasn't it?
No, it was before. So the best friend, of course, Judy and the babysitter are doing something.
Roller skating. She got her gift. I believe rollerblades.
So and they were outside.
And they left the girl in there alone.
They left the best friend in there alone. And guess where she goes? She goes snooping around the fucking house. Bruh. So she goes snooping around the house, and of course she goes into the room, and there's this one item. I don't know where that item was from.
Which item was that?
It was the one that she put her father's photo in.
The amulet?
She put the photo of her and her father on the piano at first.
Yeah, but then she put the photo of her father in this thing that's supposed to bring him back to life, I think.
She put it back in her pocket, because for some reason when I watched that scene, it actually came back to me. I didn't know what the hell was going on, but she put the photo of her I believe it was her and her father, or was it just her father, on the piano, and then I believe she stuck it back in her pocket. Because she that's where she also stuffed the keys.
Right.
Yeah. But what caught my eye, and I don't know if you guys did, she bent down, I think, because she dropped something or she saw a note or something on the floor that was right next to the piano. Mm-hmm. If you actually paid attention, wait, hold on, I wrote it down. What the hell is the name of the thing? Where is it? Where did I put it?
Over there.
Yeah, okay, first of all, Eric. Anyway, I believe it was the Feely Mealy box.
Yeah,
you know how later in the movie they were playing the game Feely Mealy, but there was two of them. I don't know if you caught that.
No, I didn't.
Because when
box.
It wasn't. Because the room the little girl was sneaking around in, where Annabelle was locked up and all the other ones, there was a box under the piano. That's what caught my attention the first time.
Right.
There was a box. You can go back and double check. Maybe I'm crazy, but I'm pretty sure I saw that box first there.
I mean, you're crazy whether you're right or not.
Shut up. Anyway, so she goes around, and then, the movie continues, and then they go to play Feely Mealy, whatever the hell it's called, again, but they weren't in the room. They were in, I think it was the office area, because that's where it looked like they stored those games. It was either that or inside the little girl's room. So there was two of those. So I had to go back, and I'm like, is one of those fucking cursed, or is someone, did someone switch them out, or did no one pay attention to that? What the hell's going on? It's driving me insane.
Yeah, that was really strange.
So basically, Eric, what happens is when she's in that room, she unlocks Annabelle's case, and then Annabelle basically pushes the case open herself.
Yes.
And then, the little girl walks, this snarky bitch best friend walks away, and,
because she burned the cake.
Yeah. And all hell breaks loose.
Of course. Literally all hell breaks loose.
Of course. It's literally the Avengers assemble
for Haunting. It really was. Because if you paid attention...
And Annabelle is Thanos, I'm guessing?
Yeah, literally.
No, not even. You know what was the surprise?
Annabelle is Sam Jackson. And so Annabelle is fucking Nick Fury. That's what it is.
She was barely active.
Oh, no, she was active.
No, if you pay attention, she was barely active. The doll itself was moving around, yes. But they didn't show the demon. But they showed
the demon once.
What, Annabelle's demon?
Yeah.
The one that was controlling her?
Yeah.
I don't remember seeing it.
Okay, do you remember the scene where Judy was in bed?
Yeah.
And she had that light?
Yeah.
Okay, so when the light falls, you see the demon in red, and then you see Annabelle in the green, and then you see something else.
Okay, I guess
that's what fucked me up.
Yeah.
Because what happened is Judy got in bed, and she felt something crawl up her sheets.
Yeah.
She looks up, and that was the doll.
Ew.
And she got scared and knocked it because she has this light that kind of
it turns different colors when it goes around.
It spins around and turns green, red, blue, shit like that. Yeah. And it fell, and it was still spinning on the ground, and
it showed everything. Yeah,
and it showed the demon, and then it showed Annabelle, and then it showed something else.
It was weird for me because, like I said, if you paid attention to when they were actually looking at the case files inside the office area, you saw all the things. I think the one was the wedding dress.
That was a setup.
One was the wedding dress. One was apparently a werewolf that comes out of fog. Mm-hmm. I feel like it did. That's what I'm saying. I guess I missed
Peach
that
Fuzz.
Scene. Yeah, I forgot that. But I feel like that movie concentrated on everything else and tried to throw it all in.
But isn't that supposed to be a famous Warren case itself, the werewolf?
Yes.
Yeah, that was one of them.
In fact,
there was the one.
There's a book up there called Werewolf that was written.
Is that the one that they're making the movie of?
I think so. I don't know anything about the new movie yet.
The new movie. Hold on. The new movie is about a case where the guy claimed demonic possession in court.
Yes.
Is that the same
I believe
case?
it is. Yeah, I believe it is.
Well,
in fact, I'm going to take that book down tonight, and I'm going to read it again because I read it 30 years ago.
So basically, what starts happening, demons, whatever the fuck these things are in this house start getting out, and to me, if you look at Llorona.
There you go.
That movie with the bride dress, it's the same. Isn't that the same bitch the Conjuring?
It was, but it's
Annabelle?
not. No, I thought it was, but it's not, because apparently that dress by itself was haunted. It made whoever wore that dress kill, I believe, their spouses.
You know what's funny? I mean, now going...
That's weird.
With this movie, which... It was an entertaining movie as far as ghost movies.
Annabelle.
Annabelle comes home, yeah.
It's pure bullshit. And the reason I say that is because Judy, in an interview I just read or saw or whatever, she said that she never slept in that house. She would be there. She basically lived by her grandparents' house because she was always there, and she was terrified to stay in that house.
Well, I would be too.
So again, it's a nice story, but that's the only problem I have with this movie is. As for everything that James Wan did, that was great. This one, he took too many liberties, in my opinion.
But I think that was.
But he was a producer. But he was a producer in the Annabelle movie.
Yeah,
so
he wasn't the director.
He wasn't like in creative control of it.
Yeah,
to me,
the thing with that though is I think that's what James was turning around and saying, that with the Conjurings, he wants to be as close as possible to the actual.
He's got to do a better job in the Conjuring. You're right. If he doesn't,
but with the side movies like The Nun, the Annabelle movies, and Crooked Man,
I guess he would just like overlook it to make sure that they're like following the same sequence.
Yeah. So he basically what he was doing is he's going to take some liberties where he can.
I think he should have put his foot down in Annabelle Comes Home.
I agree,
because I might make an unpopular statement, but I did not like Annabelle Comes Home. I felt like Annabelle Comes Home was too actiony.
What are you doing? Hold on a minute. What are you doing?
I'm not doing anything.
Is that who's behind me?
Teresa.
You got scared as fuck.
Your daughter. Who probably just scared your soul.
I was gonna say you can't see that.
No, I wasn't looking there.
He wasn't looking. No, but yeah.
Are you watching this upstairs?
No.
Of course not.
Why don't you go watch it?
Why would you not?
Yeah,
basically, okay. So you're right. They did take a lot of liberties when Annabelle Comes Home. I think
it to me, Annabelle Comes Home was like the action movie of the.
That's what it was supposed to do. I think it was supposed to be the Avengers Assemble type movie for this universe, and I think it was supposed to show what's coming up, what cases. You know which one scared me the fucking most was the one with the coins in the eyes.
This is still Annabelle, right?
Yeah, this is still Annabelle Comes Home. There was a scene, because apparently there's a case. I don't know if it was a case or it was just lore, because it's true. Like when people die in some cultures, the ferryman.
Ferryman. There's different names. One of them is I believe Charon. That's actually from Christianity. Actually, it's Quran.
Basically,
you give them coins.
They put pennies or something on the eyes when they die.
Charon is
that's like I remember seeing that like in like Troy and stuff like that. Like the Greeks used to do that. They put
he's basically the ferryman that takes the souls across the river Thames or whatever it is.
Yeah. So basically, he showed up in the movie.
So he's pretty much like a reaper.
Yeah, I think it's supposed to be a setup for a future movie, just like the werewolf is supposed to be a setup for a future movie. But if you're going to do that, and this is 1981 with the latest installment in The Conjuring, you're going to have to go back.
Yeah, you have to go way back because they already caught it or defeated it, whatever.
For Joe, if anything, if Judy picked up, I guess
she's sensitive,
her parents.
She wants nothing to do with it. She actually, when her mom died, I believe she gave everything to
her husband.
Yeah, all that stuff that's there now. I don't know if they moved it or.
I wouldn't want to. Do you want to be the moving people?
I don't know. Now, what's funny about that is John Zaffis, I don't know if anybody is familiar with John Zaffis.
I am.
Is the Warrens' nephew. Okay. He's the one who did Haunted Collector, and he does his own stuff.
He's a haunted. He's a ghost hunter himself.
Right.
Okay.
Amateur demonologist. He learned a lot. My video just went dead.
Oh, you're still. Oh no. Yeah, your phone died.
The phone died.
Oh.
So how could that be? Well, we're gonna go on anyway.
Yeah. Sorry, you're not gonna be able to see him.
But now it's charging. I can't figure that out. Whatever.
It'll pop back on. Yeah, hold your phone.
So anyway,
sorry, folks.
I don't know why it's
technical difficulties.
Yeah, I don't know why it's charging. Whatever. Anyway, I thought all that stuff would have wound up with John Zaffis, but apparently it isn't.
So you're just seeing us now.
Yeah,
but yeah. So basically, what they didn't give it to John Zaffis because in the will, I guess they gave it to Judy, the daughter, and then she was like, "Fuck that! I don't want a part of any of that," and she gave it to her husband. Mm-hmm. Now, I don't know what her husband's doing with it, or the actual museum. But I can tell you one thing: I don't want to be the movers on that day.
I don't see what kind of museum that is anyway. It's a fucking room, you know. And if you can't,
it's a museum.
Yeah, but you know what? You can't touch anything there. You don't want.
Well, you need the whole entire Catholic Church to be there.
Well, it's not like you see it in Annabelle Comes Home. That was total shit. The movie basically is the same set that they use for Conjuring 1, whatever. But in reality, in the house, is a long hallway that they have to go down, and they fill it with all kinds of creepy artifacts. Which to me was a little over the top. Why they did that, I don't know. But you had to go all the way down this hallway to get to this.
Well, also if you look at inside that room with the videos that were on in that room, there is a lot more artifacts in that room than the movie portrays.
Oh, absolutely.
You have shit on top of shit on top of shit on top of shit. Like, how many cases did this guy work on?
They had a freaking samurai armor in there.
Yeah, that one is also a true case of theirs.
Yeah.
I don't know where from. Like, I don't know when the fuck they went to Japan to solve a demon case.
No, they actually, I believe, they
went to fucking England.
Conjuring 2 was the first time they went abroad. I believe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Wrong. But no, their cases went far back. I mean, you're talking, you know.
How does that even work, by the way? Do they get paid by the Catholic Church to do stuff like this?
No. They sold paintings. They sold paintings. They sold
we'll jump into The Conjuring 2 now, because basically what happened at the end of Annabelle Comes Home.
Speed up. Already at an hour here.
Yeah, at the end of the Annabelle Comes Home, of course, they get the demon back into the case. They get Annabelle back into the case, and basically this movie was just
seal it away and stuff.
This movie was just a big setup for future movies. Like, it's a good scare, good hour and 45, I think it is.
Yeah, just about.
Yeah, it's a good hour 45 movie of just, look what we're gonna do. Look what we can do.
Mm-hmm. Like, look at us.
Fucking demons assemble. Like, that's what it is. I liked it for what it was. Like, I didn't take it as a true story. I know it's not a true story.
Yeah,
if you look at that just as a haunting movie or an action haunting movie, it's a good standing thing. Like, it could stand on itself.
Literally, for me, the equivalent is like the fillers they put in anime. That's what I feel like Annabelle Comes Home is.
Yeah, to me, valid. Yeah, it's more of that. If they ever made like a Hawkeye movie.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's the same shit.
Yeah.
Like a movie that you don't really have to watch.
But it's still part of the universe.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So The Conjuring 2, we'll start off with The Conjuring 2 now. The Conjuring 2, basically...
Boy, let's get into this one.
Because there's a lot to unravel in this movie.
Oh, my God. You have no idea.
It's a lot.
So the Warrens get called over to England because there's a case of a haunting in England. And shit goes down.
A lot of shit goes down.
A lot of shit goes down. Now, what interests me about it, because I don't know if this is... I haven't watched the movie this week, so I don't remember. But...
Shoot, I might.
I just saw it a few hours ago. So.
Where does the movie start off? Does it start off...
It starts off in
England.
No, it starts off in... I believe Long Island, because the first Conjuring ended with them saying about they have a case in Long Island, which was the Amityville,
and that's where
she's having her clairvoyance thing going on where she's trying to see what happened, and you see her reenact like the gunshots of what happened and killing the family. That's how The Conjuring 2 started off.
Yeah, and that's where she goes into the basement, looks into the mirror, sees Valak, and
then she
saw the nun.
She saw the nun, and then she saw a vision of Ed's death.
Yeah.
So basically, that was our first introduction to Valak itself.
Yes.
Originally, yes, because Conjuring 2 came out before
everything else.
Yeah. Okay.
So what interests me in that is, seeing the nun there was when I first saw it, I was like, a nun?
Right.
Like you don't expect that to be seen. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I'm glad they made the nun, because watching it, like you said, I'm like, what the fuck is a nun doing there?
Yeah. So. And then, all this shit starts happening in London with Bill Wilkins and all that. I sound just like him. That
was a little bit scary how that sounded exactly like it. I saw that last night, and you know me, and I'm not religion, but I'm about to take a cross. Yeah, I'm about to take a cross.
I should have brought my rosary today, bro.
But yeah, so the haunting with Bill Wilkins and everything starts happening over in London. But the most interesting part for these movies, besides the actual demonic stuff, well, not demonic, but the haunting that happens in London, is the stuff that takes place in the Warrens' house. And Dad brought a little part to me. Okay, so Ed Warren, as he said, they sold paintings to do what they need to do, and apparently
he saw the demon. He
painted the nun. But apparently, Dad said he really did paint something like that, and that picture or that picture the painting is actually missing this day.
Till this day, it's missing.
Yeah, nobody knows where that actual painting.
Now, I'm gonna preface that with that's what I read.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say I know that for sure.
If anybody can actually find out where it is,
that'd be great.
Do not send it here to us.
No. Don't send it here.
We don't want you. I don't even
send it to the church. Send it to the church.
I don't even want a fucking photo of it.
Send it to the church.
So that interests me a lot, because I'm like, if that was true, if that's true, and nobody, where the fuck did the painting go?
Yeah, where the hell?
I mean, if somebody's hanging out on the wall somewhere, I'm sure someone will notice it.
But
I'm pretty sure any normal person that would come across it would be freaked out to begin with.
Yeah. So this movie introduced you to two characters that are gonna be in the Conjuring universe in future films. Obviously, at that time, it was the nun and the Crooked Man, which to me is creepy, but I didn't like the of course you have to use a CGI for it.
Yeah.
I think Josh was mentioning it earlier, Robach, how he loved when the dog transformed into the Crooked Man.
Can we talk about that for a second?
That shit was crazy. Because I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yes, going from The Conjuring 1 and what they did with the limited special effects that they used in it, which made it feel more real for me. Compared to the little bit of liberties they took for the special effects in The Conjuring 2, it worked for me, because it legit, like I said, I think actually watching The Conjuring 1 and 2, I was legit scared. Compared to all the other movies, I really didn't care, but I was legit scared of the way these were done, because like I said, they were the first ones done before the universe came out. So the scene where the dog
is growling at the door.
And then the little girl opens the door.
No, it was the boy. It was
it was little Billy. Boy. Yeah, Billy. He opens the door, and then the dog growls for a second, and then the next thing you know, it
morphs and transforms.
Yeah, and then it's turned into this tall, skinny thing. I was like, oh!
Yeah, that's...
Sorry, I didn't mean...
I would have pulled the Joe and crapped my pants.
Yeah, that scared...
Fuck you.
That scared the crap
My
out
whole
of
thing
me.
is, I want to know if the Crooked Man was really part of this paranormal investigation. I know the Crooked Man is an actual fairy tale, is it not? Does anybody know?
From them over there.
I've never heard of that. I've heard of a Candyman.
Yeah, I think the Crooked Man in England,
I believe it is
an actual tale.
I think the creepiest part of what they did, first of all, I didn't like the way they did it, because it looked to me like
too animated.
It looked like
the CGI was strong, but they didn't have a choice.
It looks like Tim Burton decided to go in there.
Tim Burton, that part.
Yeah,
but what really fucked me up was when you saw him, or you felt him coming down the hallway,
saw the shadow,
and then it turned out to be the little girl. That scared the living shit out of me.
That too, yes.
Whoa,
that was good.
Brilliantly done. I loved the way they did that.
Well,
yeah.
I think the biggest scene you saw in the trailer, when you saw the trailer for this movie, was the scene of all the
Everything flying?
No, the cross is turning upside down.
That's creepy. Too.
You would never expect that just from the trailers because they didn't show anything about that, like the crooked man scene.
Yeah,
it was just
so there was no.
upside
You
down
didn't
crosses.
see no crooked man in the trailer whatsoever. You just saw. I think it was just the one scene of her looking around the room and the cross is turning around.
That was.
I think that was
trailers.
one of the biggest trailer that was because obviously upside down crosses is one of the creepiest things you can do.
Yeah.
But for me, the I don't know. One of the things that scared me also was seeing and they utilize this trick throughout most of these movies and a lot of horror movies in general. When he rolled the toy fire truck into the tent and it rolled back out.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I can't do when that shit. If something like in Annabelle Creation,
that was another jump scare that got me too when it rolled back and it went ah. You heard the deep man voice. Yeah. I was just like, oh my god.
In Annabelle Creation, they used it with the ball.
Yeah.
She rolled the ball into the hallway, and I think it got it literally was thrown back at her.
No.
It rolled back.
Was it Creation?
Yeah, it was Creation. It was in the house. It was the little girl.
No. It was the gun with the ball on it.
Oh,
she kept shooting it, and she kept coming back.
Oh,
and then the last time it got stuck.
Yeah.
And then it went up, and then I think it took it from her.
Yeah. So basically, she had a gun with a ball on it, and she shot it into the hallway. Brought it back like fishing style.
Yeah, the ball had a rope attached to it, so it was one of those old toys.
The last time she shot it, she couldn't bring it back, and you saw it rise in the darkness. The string just rise in the darkness.
Oh hell no!
And then the gun got pulled away from her.
Hell no!
Yeah,
hell no!
Those type of scenes scare the fuck out of me because you don't know what the fuck's on the other side of that.
You don't. That's why.
And then the use of the dark, and then the use of the darkness plays onto your fears too, because you can just you don't know what you're seeing, so you can just your imagination just runs crazy
completely throughout this entire series, and they did it in The Conjuring 2, because, and I also think they did in The Conjuring 1.
Yeah, because I watched the first Conjuring on my phone.
Yeah, they did. There were certain scenes with just the shadows alone were just phenomenal.
Both sets of little girls, because it happened both of those sets of little girls.
Yeah,
the one little girl both times just stayed into the corner, and if you look at it enough, you're like, oh, there's a shadow there. But if you look at it, sometimes I don't see a shadow, and then sometimes I do.
How about the one scene where the little girl was in bed?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, but her sister was talking to her or yelling at her about, you don't go here or whatever, and all of a sudden it got quiet and you heard, this is my house.
Yeah, that's the same scene I'm talking about.
Fuck, man.
But that's what I'm saying. You saw, if you look in the corner,
right. It was the poster of some guy, and I was just like, there's something there, and then when she turned on the light,
they tricked the hell out of you. And
they turned on the light, I was just like, it's a poster of
David
freaking English guy.
Yeah, David Saul, Hutch from Starsky and Hutch.
Yeah, they use that type of shit so perfectly throughout these movies. If you want to take a good look at filming a horror movie, definitely watch these movies.
I'll be very honest with you. When I first saw The Conjuring 2, I just thought that they were just trying to milk the series, because I thought that it was literally the same thing as the first one. I was just like, they literally are doing the same thing over again.
Yeah, I mean,
but then when I looked at it earlier today, I just was just appreciating how they did it and what they're trying to show you as to what happened. So
see, that's the funny part too with these movies. That's why I think with The Conjuring 3 they're going in a different direction, because if you look at The Conjuring 1, Conjuring 2, it's your basic haunted house ghost stories.
No, and it has the same cadence, the same feel. It's literally, if you watch the first one and the second one, you would think that it's okay, this is the same movie.
Yeah, and that's why I turned around and James Wan turned around. He was like, that's, we're taking the set, and if you, like I said, it's in this half an hour, I guess you call it a little documentary about that Conjuring Universe that just released 2 weeks ago. He turned around, he was like, we want to bring something different. So that's why, the first two Conjurings maintained in a house in a little area. Yeah, we went abroad with Conjuring 2, but with The Conjuring 3, it's a whole different type of Conjuring.
See, again, too, sticking to reality, these movies, James Wan has to be very, very creative. But yet, on the same token, he's got to watch what he's doing. Mm-hmm. Because, to be honest with you, in all the cases for the Warrens, the situations are basically all the same.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you have a demon come in, it's oppressing people. You know, then it's looking to totally destroy their lives. Yeah. And it does it in basically the same way, but there are different ways that it can do it. You know, now, in this story, you saw levitation of a little girl.
Yeah.
You saw her talking in Bill Wilkinson's voice.
Teleportation.
But all these are actually documented, too.
That's my point.
Yeah.
But there's only so much that is really documented. So it's going to be difficult. Like, you know, like you're right. The stories, Eric's right here. The stories are basically the same, but it's all the same premise. Demon wants to come into that house and take over and to kill whoever's there and to take their soul. And they're going to do it in the possession, oppression, whatever, infestation. It's oppression, infestation.
Yeah, the
oppression, possession.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's what it's going to do it. So there are a lot of similarities, but where the similarities stop is some of these people that were haunted, some of these people that were in the middle of being possessed would spit up nails. There would be frogs that would fall on their house.
Yeah, so basically, again, what the demons and evil spirits do by mocking Jesus, mocking the Bible, mocking the plagues.
Right.
They would throw frogs at your house, spit up nails, 3 nails to be exact. There's always 3 nails.
Like in the first Conjuring, like when Carolyn was possessed, and you saw the crows just like start surrounding the house, getting hit, smacking themselves into the windows.
That's what happens with demons.
He's gonna have to be if he's gonna do this to the exact or take from the Warren's case files, which are immense. If he's gonna do that, he's gonna have to do it in a way that's believable. There's a lot of shit that you tell me, yeah, come on, this guy just spit up nails. You're going to go, yeah, dude, lay off the fucking weed. But
heard that before.
But
or start smoking more.
But the thing is,
we're not talking to you, Eric.
Oh, shit.
You would have to experience this, and you got to believe it. If you believe that their case files are correct, and you believe that they are.
No, that's where having an open mind comes into play,
right?
Too.
And all of this stuff has got to come into play. Where if you do believe it, then James Wan is going to have to figure out a way to make the audience believe it.
Yeah,
he's walking.
That's where you're going to see him at his best.
He's walking the tightrope between the people who actually do believe it,
right?
And he also has to satisfy the needs of people who don't really believe it, but also want to go see a horror movie,
right?
No,
if he continues with what he did with Conjuring 1 and 2, I think he can do it.
I think with the third one,
I believe so.
I think with the third one, we're going to see a much different Conjuring, because again, this case file that they're doing it on is an actual and
I believe that he's like directing, writing, and producing.
Well, I don't know if he's doing all that. I think he might just be the producer and the writer for it. I don't know if he's directing it. I could be wrong. I'll search it up right now. But with this movie, the case file itself in real life is one of the biggest stories. It was the first time in our history, that someone used a demonic possession as a
valid reason in court.
Yeah, as a plea in court. Not plea in court.
Ronnie DeFeo wanted to do that.
That was the guy, the Amityville guy, right?
Yeah.
He wanted to not claim demonic possession like they did in the movie, the Amityville Possession. Yeah. He wanted to claim he was
under the influence of
whoever, because he heard voices. Now you can say what you want about that. I don't know if that's if that's what he did or why he killed his family, but that's another story. But there's so much more to that. Like I said, that Juan's got to deal with here.
Okay, so Juan is not the director for Conjuring 3. It's Michael Chavez, and he's not even a writer. He's just a producer for this Conjuring.
Interesting.
But yeah, so this movie is gonna feel different. It's not gonna be your typical haunted house demon movies.
Right.
It's going to. He said it's gonna be a wild ride. Now, I want to get back.
I really freaking hope so. I'm trying to shit my pants once.
I want to get back to the Conjuring 2, because the one scene that we were talking about earlier, we touched before, was the one dream sequence that Lorraine had with Judy.
Yeah.
With Valak, because I really want to get in depth with that actual sequence itself.
I loved it.
Because that's what took you out of that normal. Like you didn't see this in the first movie. Like you're now the Warrens themselves have a haunting that they have to deal with. Yeah. And I think that's the first introduction. I think you're going to see more of that. Because I don't think at the end...
I think they actually made it more of a degree in The Conjuring 2 of her visions.
Yeah.
Because in the first one, the only really thing you noticed when she would see something is just whatever was behind somebody.
Yeah, like the shadowy figures and whatnot.
Or like the witch that hung herself when she saw it behind Ed.
Yeah. And
like
then,
you saw them
of course,
in the picture and you saw what
To be very honest with you, in the second one, they show a lot of more of like the astral projection part of like how they did in Insidious, because the movie started off with her sitting down at the table, and then when she's looking back, she's seeing herself sitting on that table.
Well, we also
and she's like walking around.
We also
the house.
find out in the beginning of The Conjuring when they're showing the whatchamacallit, what is that? The exorcism of Frenchie, excuse me. And that video at the beginning, she sees something in Frenchie's eyes.
Yes.
And we didn't know what the hell that was in the Conjuring movie. Like, she didn't talk about it. Yeah. She didn't do it. We find out in the Conjuring 2 that it was Ed's death.
Yes,
that's what she saw, and that was, if you go back to the nun, the guy that they were, the guy that they were exercising was the same guy from the nun. It was the same guy who, at the end of the movie, you see the upside down cross in the back of his neck. He was possessed by Valak.
Yes,
that's crazy.
And then you see the upside down cross, like in the exorcism footage, like
in the exorcism footage, you see, in the rib area, he has an upside down cross.
Yeah, I thought that was phenomenal the way they connected that.
Yeah, they connected that right there, and that was her first. Their first encounter with Valak, but she didn't realize she was going to have more encounters with this demon. But this is what you find out in The Conjuring 2, and that scene really creeped me out because, one, like I said before, you had all of the things spelling out Valak. Everywhere you saw Valak. And then you see the nun at the end of, like, if you didn't know this was an actual dream sequence, which we didn't at the beginning, seeing a nun dressed up at the end of your hallway, I would leave the fucking house.
Oh yeah,
house.
I think
state. Fuck that. That's I think
Canada.
I think the best part. I think my favorite and best part of that whole dream sequence was like when she was in the room and all the lights turned off and she saw the shadow of the nun.
I was just walking
into the portrait of the painting, and then it coming at her. Bruh.
Yeah, that's again another which they utilized again in the nun.
Yes, I was just gonna say that. I was the way they did that with the shadows was phenomenal. The way they went all the way around and then stopped at one point, that was crazy. And that was basically
how you lost it in the darkness at one point in the corner.
Yeah.
And don't forget too that picture. Now you basically, when the lights went out, the eyes went out. The eyes were glowing.
Yeah, they were bright.
It was totally different photo.
Yeah,
and and that's another thing about this entire series that drives me nuts. That they must have done that a dozen times in that movie. But then the Annabelle doll, you wasn't the Annabelle. The original one was a Raggedy Ann, but they're not going to do that because I get sued.
Yeah.
So they made
and
this
really
one.
Not that scary.
It's not that scary, but would you want to fuck with it?
Well, no, but I'm just saying, like, they would have to take a doll that looks scary.
Right, they did this for Hollywood, but how many of those dolls did they create?
Oh, they did a lot.
There's so many. I mean, you got some with the cracked face, some where it's smiling or puckering his lips, her lips, and you sit there and go, what prop guy is going to want to handle this shit? Would you want to fucking have to know where they are in like a studio somewhere and have to,
Well, Dad, your camera's back on if you want to fix it.
Okay, well, hold on. Let me go fix my camera, folks.
And
what the fuck I'm doing.
But yeah, I that scene really.
There we go, back on the air again. Did you miss me?
Ow. Look at that face.
Madonna, as they say in Italian, face.
Now we're back. But yeah, so that scene alone was one of the creepiest scenes in The Conjuring 2 for me, because it brought you out of the haunting in Britain.
It gave me very Insidious vibes.
Yeah, and then you sit there and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah.
Why is there a demon in their house? You know, like what? Why? Why?
Was that ever explained? Was that ever explained why there was a demon that was actually trapping Bill Wilkins in that house?
That was valid.
To get Ed.
I know, but that was. But how did the demon get into that house? Was it? Weren't they playing with the Ouija board? The girls early on.
Yes.
They were. They made one, right?
They made a Ouija board. Yeah.
There you go. Sorry.
There you go, folks. Don't make Ouija boards. Don't play with them.
Don't play Ouija boards.
Ouija board.
This is a disclaimer brought to you by me. Don't play with that fucking shit. I played with it one time. Me and my cousin Laura and my cousin Brian. Hi, Laura. Hi, Brian. And we played with it in her house, and nothing creepy happened, but the planchette was moving by itself. Yeah, and then when we asked, "Is there someone here?" It went to yes,
and that's when you put it away.
That's the last time I touched that fucking thing.
Oh, you never say goodbye?
No, I didn't say goodbye. Maybe it's
motherfucker.
The motherfucker! I come down here, the motherfucking shit.
I'm about to fucking baptize this house. What the fuck?
There we go. Now we just lost the Negro audience. Let's go.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my God. But yeah, so that scene for me, really, it took me out of England and put me in like her shoes, because
Lorraine?
Yeah, what would you do if you saw that? I know I wouldn't, like we were saying before, I would not even go near that hallway.
She's a brave woman, I'll just tell you that. Yeah. She's a very brave woman for that.
She's been battling demons and shit for years. You really think she's not going to question and go check out?
You're right, but at the
especially
same time,
in her own house too.
But yeah, but I'm saying that would creep me out even more, because like, there's a thing of like, okay, I'm going to someone's house to battle demons and ghosts and whatnot. That's fine. Seeing it in your own house puts you as the oppressor.
I have a theory,
whatever the fuck it is.
I think it's when my theory is that when Ed painted the photo of it, it invited it into the house.
I think it split its spirit. Like, I agree with you, Eric. I think it kind of like split its spirit, or just gave it not a conduit, like they said, but kind of like some kind of a
medium.
Yes, like a medium. Like, okay, well, these dumbasses both saw me, so I'm gonna go torture them really fast.
Well, they didn't know. But that's the thing; they didn't know that they saw the like. I know they don't know that, but he still painted the picture. Well, if you realize also that he also painted the picture of
the house
in the first movie, with the tree in front of it, but I think that was the major thing for Lorraine, because I guess she didn't realize he painted this picture.
Maybe he should not paint it at all.
But
when
there you go, folks. Don't paint.
I mean, it depends. Like what? But like that, if
Bob Ross never had these problems.
Bob Ross is dead though.
Yeah, he also did trees too. So you know what? I never seen trees haunt someone.
Yeah, he probably just smoked.
This isn't the Lord of the Rings.
But my thing with that is, if he really did paint a picture like that, and you're saying that is an actual painting that happened,
that's what I read.
Then that means this Valak story must be somehow true then.
Yeah, it might be true to that particular movie, but I don't know where they're gonna. I don't know.
No, but like
bring it back to the nun.
No, what I'm saying is like.
No, he means in real life.
Yeah, in real life, that means
you said the picture was
Warrens
missing.
Had to be haunted by this demon, and Lorraine probably did really see something. Like, did anybody ask her if that was true in her life? Like, did she really?
You'd have to do interviews. I don't remember. To be honest with you, I never heard of the demon Valak. I never heard of anything. That was me. I'm getting an update, whatever.
Oh no, it was just saying again. Trevor Lawrence tested positive for COVID.
Oh.
So
sign him up, Jets.
Hold on, guess what that means in 2 weeks? He's not going to be there for the Notre Dame game #1. Here we come.
Who gives a shit?
Okay.
Can we get back on topic?
Any horror?
Yes.
All the horrors.
Anyway, can we just
gotta get this wrapped up soon, homie?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, can we just skip to one part that I actually gotta say legit had chills in my body?
My house.
No, not even that. Not
Bill
even
Wilkins.
that. That was good. I love the way they portrayed that in that scene. But the part that legitimately actually gave me chills, and this is coming from someone who proclaims to be an atheist, which you guys already know, but the scene where they told the girl to hold water in her mouth, and it wouldn't talk to them unless they turned around.
Right. And then it morphed into the old guy?
No, not even. I think it was even more excessive than that, because the way they framed the shot, too,
just to focus on Ed the entire time.
Yes. The perfect use of space in a shot that he had for that scene blew my mind and freaked me out at the same time, because it's like they're literally listening to a demon who just told them, you got to turn your back or I'm not talking to you. First of all, that's insane to me. Second of all, the fact that it got dark and then it got bright but blurry to the point where you thought you were seeing the old man.
You were at one point.
You were. But when it kept the conversation going and it started saying more things, it got a little bigger, and it looked like the mouth of the face of the older guy, kept getting bigger and was talking like this.
Bill Wilkins.
It was so blurry, and there was almost no like at one point it was driving me crazy because I wanted to see it because it was in the picture, but all the focus was on Ed, and it legit scared the shit out of me.
You need to go on YouTube and look up the actual
interview.
The actual interview. That's all I'm going to say.
Because that is a true thing. That interview.
Didn't they play it at the end of the movie though?
They did. They actually did. Yeah,
that was the actual.
They played it
for the credits. They actually played the legit interview that happened between them.
Right, but you go on YouTube and you'll see what she did, what that girl did.
The full interview.
And
because it does get a little creepier.
It's a little creepier. You might not be an atheist when you're done with that. That's all I'm going to say.
The last scene I think that creeped me out the most, because I think it goes into everybody's fear of being home alone, was when she was home alone and changing the TV. And seeing
that part fucked with me, bro. That part really
everybody has that little fear, like
the fact when she put her clicker down and it was right next to her, and then I was just like, it disappeared, and I was just like, oh god, it's at the couch, and then when it was at the couch,
and then it fell.
Bro, and then like when she was like fixing it, and then it turned off, and you just saw it, and you saw him in the reflection. Muff.
That's what I'm saying, because I think another thing that these movies do is they play on actual fears that everybody has, like with ghosts, because that's a fear of mine. If I'm home alone and like the clicker goes missing and like the TV starts changing,
like, that you put it down right next to you, and then it's just like,
it's like, okay, like first I'm not gonna think it's a ghost, but then like if the TV starts fucking moving, like not moving but changing channels.
Listen,
that's
bro,
fucked up.
If I know that I put this phone down right here and then next thing I know it's at the freaking laundry machine, just know that I'll never freaking come back here again. ever. I'll be like, good luck. I wish you the best.
I'll do my shot remotely.
I'll call in for these podcasts.
We're gonna have a Zoom meeting with fucking Eric from now on.
Yeah, that's how it'll be.
All right, so I think that's where we'll end this week. I think this was. It's a really long episode. I know.
It's just so much that we could talk about in the Conjuring Universe.
Yeah, we're at 89 million, so basically we're at an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's kind of long.
Yeah, it's a long episode, but I think we had a lot of. We had to get through this guy's fucking notes.
Hey man, you know what?
I condensed it down to like 15 minutes. Okay.
All I've been hearing all week is, Josh went out. He bought all the movies. He's writing notes. He's gonna, because he was so upset the last time. I wasn't upset.
I was upset because of the fact that I couldn't really talk, and then you guys were on talking, and I wanted to come and trust me, if I wanted to, we can make this longer because the notes I have with the dates alone, I was connecting stuff from the Nun, back, because it's the one thing was they said it was 1952, and then the events of what started Valak, because of the Duke was 30 at least 30 years earlier, which would make it 1922. So that's when that stuff started, and then he got released, or Valak got released by World War II, which was 1939. But I was like, wait, what happened in 1922? 1922 was just after, I believe, World War One, and there was something going on. I'm like, okay, well, that doesn't make sense because World War One took place technically in other places. What does that have to do with Romania in the 1950 and all that time? I found out that it was a Turkish war in 1922 that was actually close to what is modern day Romania right now. So I was like I was making connections like that. I didn't
really going
I was making connections.
See,
I was making connections I didn't need to make.
That's what's called, what is it called, Joe?
Research.
If you turn around and say show prep, I'm going to hit you.
Show prep.
Show prep.
I would be doing that. I would be writing notes. I mean, look, I still got the notes here from The Shining. I did all that stuff, and you got to do that because you got to go into these things knowing what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah, that's fine.
There's so many. I got such a feeble brain as it is, and there's 7 movies here. So I'm like the Conjuring 1 and Conjuring 2. I mean, I know verbatim.
For other reasons.
The other ones I remember different parts of.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of see, I'm not a jump scare guy. If there's a jump scare coming, ask him.
Oh yeah,
we're
watching. Yeah,
I'm like this. I'm like this.
Today.
I do not want to see it.
And he had the pillow in front of his face the whole time.
Yeah, I'm not a big jump scare kind of guy, but
which, by the way, I will give a shout out to Linda Cardellini because again, I think she was fantastic in that movie. That's the same chick that played Velma in the live action Scooby Doo movies.
Ooh, Velma.
Which, if you noticed at the beginning of that movie, they were playing a Scooby Doo episode. It was actually pretty fucking funny.
That's funny.
That's cool.
Yeah, but so I think that's where we'll end this episode here, guys. Always,
I love you.
All
Fuck you.
right, creeper.
This Saturday we have our live episode. Everybody's going to be on, so
yes,
come and just watch. So thank you guys.
We're going to be doing. I'll tell you off air.
Thank you guys for listening, and we'll catch you guys later.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
That's me.